Greetings, fellow nerds. I am Chris.
I'm Michelle.
And what better time than Christmas time to rank our top 10 favorite Christmas movies? So when it comes to movie watching, especially watching old favorites, outside of Halloween, Christmas is kind of our favorite season for bringing out old favorites. We documented actually all the ones that are in our Christmas and our physical media collection in our last video, which it was quite a bit. That was kind of a long video. But now we are both going to rank our top 10 favorites, and I know probably we have some differences but I haven't seen yours and you haven't seen mine.
No, we did these totally separate, so we don't know what's on the other list.
Yeah, so I'm happy to kind of kick in and do this. So ladies first, have at it. What's your number 10 pick, Michelle?
So my number 10 just kind of eked in because I actually had trouble with deciding whether or not I wanted to include it, but it's Bad Santa. And
good pick. Great pick.
It's so raunchy and rude, but it's so funny, and there's so many quotable funny moments in it too. So it's a good one for when you had a bad day, I think, and you just want to kind of blow off some steam through a movie.
Yeah, we watched it here a couple of days ago. It's still so funny, and I will admit, especially on my end, there are some days where I kind of feel like that. I think there's a little bit of a cynical side to me, so I can definitely appreciate a lot of the humor in that movie. And can you just? And by the way, actually, I'm talking about it. I should mention, it was my number 10 pick as well.
Oh.
So there you go. So Bad Santa at number 10. But I adore that movie a lot. And can we really just talk about John Ritter and Bernie Mac in that? They both just are so funny in that movie, and they're not with us anymore. But they're
both really young.
Yeah, that was really tragic, and just miss them both quite a bit. But I think like I said, we just watched it a few nights. We do have Bad Santa 2. We've never watched it. We still haven't watched it. So part of me is a little I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, I'm not either. I feel like I've kind of heard some things about it, so we'll see.
So I guess this might be the year we rip the Band-Aid off, but we'll see what happens. But what's your number 9 pick?
My number 9 pick is The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Great pick. Love it.
That I think has become my absolute favorite version of the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
It's good. And Michael Caine plays it so straight. He's not acting with Muppets. He's just acting.
Which, if you're, that does take quite a bit of acting, talent to be able to do that with Muppets, because he does play very straight. I agree.
But I think Gonzo and Rizzo give it a fun kind of narration thing going on, and so I like that part a lot too.
Yeah, I really like that. No, I think we'll definitely be talking about that one later on as well. But for me, number 9 is Die Hard. Yes, it's a Christmas movie, and yes, as I've said before, I'm willing to die on that hill. I mean, come on, a man trying to get back in touch with his family in time for the holidays, and just the things that he has to go through to make that happen. It starts with Christmas music. It ends with Christmas music. I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. It's a Christmas movie, and it is a bona fide classic.
It is a classic. However, it did not make my list.
That's okay. That's fine. But as long as you agree with this Christmas movie, which we did a kind of counterpoint to whether or not it is a Christmas movie last year, that was a fun video to do.
Yeah, it was.
So, what's your number 8 pick?
Oh, my phone locked. Number 8 is The Holiday.
Love that one.
So this is probably I would say probably one of the less Christmassy choices I have, because I wouldn't say it's a really overtly Christmas movie. It takes place at Christmas time, they're going on holiday during Christmas, but it's not I don't know, there's not a whole lot of fuss made about the actual Christmas holiday itself. It's more just kind of what's happening during the time period. But Jude Law and Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz and Jack Black. Jack Black is adorable in that movie.
Yeah, in where I was going over the Christmas movies, all of our Christmas movies that we own, I specifically pointed Jack Black in that scene in the video store where he's going through all the classic melodies from the scores.
Yeah, doing the Gone with the Wind. Ra, da, da, da. Are you embarrassed by this game I've started to play. Yes. My voice is not as good as his, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's really awesome. It did not make my top 10, however, but I do enjoy it. I'm not the biggest rom-com guy, and I really enjoy that movie, as well as, and this is another one that's not on my list, but Love Actually, that's another one that I think is also really good.
I'm starting to think we just like British people better. British rom-com movies
Should we just move to Britain?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm sure, we'll just snap our fingers and that'll happen, so there you go. As for me, my number 7 pick, quick edit, I did say 7, I meant 8, is The Polar Express.
Oh, very nice.
Tom Hanks doing Tom Hanks things. What can I say? I mean, it is such a great kids movie. Charlotte loves it, and she had a great time with it. And I don't know, I walk out of that movie, I love to kind of, usurp kind of the whole Christmas thing and feeling and, just all the joy. I kind of like to sometimes be cynical or dark. I'm looking at you, Batman Returns. But there's just something about watching a Christmas movie and just walking out feeling really good.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely love that as well. I guess I'm well-rounded in that way. So yeah, I adore Polar Express.
Yeah, I love Tom Hanks playing all the roles in that one. Incidentally, that was the one that I was fighting between Bad Santa and Polar Express. So Polar Express got bumped, but I do love that
But
movie.
we represented it in my ranking, so
Yes.
right here, pound it. Boom. Yeah, awesome.
My number 7 is It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is just, it's a Christmas classic. It's Jimmy Stewart being his Jimmy Stewart self, like in very much the same way Tom Hanks is his Tom Hanks self in Polar Express.
Which I believe it was your mother who made the comment that Tom Hanks is this generation's Jimmy Stewart.
Yes, I think it was Mom.
And I really actually agree with that.
Yeah, for sure, because he's kind of that like classic everyman that you just have to like. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, It's a Wonderful Life is just, it's a classic. It's kind of the OG in terms of like that kind of I wish I'd never been born trope.
Yeah.
And it just, it's a feel good. It's a feel good movie for sure.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites as well, and I think we'll definitely be hearing from me more from that later on. But my number 7 pick is actually Miracle on 34th Street. So I really enjoyed that one a lot. So I mean it was the original, of course, from the 40s, I believe. Maureen O'Hara, one of my favorite actresses from that time period. I just adore her as well. The actor who plays Kris Kringle is just spot on, perfect. He's really, and then of course Natalie Wood as the little girl
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
She's so adorable.
And she's definitely like a precocious child. Like she knows more than she should about some things, and then other things her mom has kept from her, and it just kind of makes for like some really sweet interactions with her and some of the other adults in the movie.
Yeah, and I completely am the type of person who's very based in, facts and truth and logic and everything like that. But, there's also something to be said about having that belief and kind of being willing to take a leap of faith. And so I really love the message coming out of that movie.
And this incidentally is also my number 6, so this is a good timing.
So then we'll go right into number 6 then and talk about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, this is one that I remember growing up with, and it's actually, incidentally, this and It's a Wonderful Life both, I remember watching as a kid colorized.
Yeah.
So we actually have a little thing every year. We try to switch between the black and white and the colorized version of It's a Wonderful Life, but we don't have a colorized version of Miracle on 34th Street. But that is how I remember watching it as a kid.
Now, incidentally, what is really weird about all this is that on the Blu-ray that we have of Miracle on 34th Street, it says includes colorized version. Guess what it doesn't have?
A colorized
The
version.
colorized version. It is so weird that they did that.
Yeah.
That had to be a goof. Like, I don't know why, but yeah, I am very much a purist. I really only want to watch the black and white because that is originally what was released in theaters. But I also respect that is a part, that is like a nostalgia, part of your childhood. So absolutely that is a compromise I'm willing to make.
But yes, Miracle on 34th Street is great. I love when movies really try to explain the whole Santa Claus thing and like give some heft to it in a way that like adults can enjoy the movie, but kids can still watch it and not like have their dreams destroyed.
Absolutely. So my number 6. Ho, ho, ho. Christmas Story. Yes. Love it so much. Now, honestly, I will say this is probably a fairly new thing for me, probably within us being together. We're about to go on 10 years of marriage here in the next 6 months or so. But before that, I really didn't watch it that much, and it really wasn't my thing. But it's like the more I watch, the more I've watched it over the years, like the more I've really grown to appreciate it. And it is just so very awesome. I think also as a parent, as the older we get, it's like I really start to relate with the parents in that as well. But I mean, there's so many classic, scenes and lines from that. Like I said in my previous video where we were talking about our whole Christmas movie collection, that I definitely use the fudge line quite a bit. So. But I mean, it's just a great film.
Yeah, and this is also my number 5. So we're just like off by one on these.
That's so weird.
But this one was one that is a super nostalgia for me because I did grow up watching this heaps. Because those of you who know, 24 Hours of a Christmas Story was on, I think it's TNT. It's been
TBS, actually, yeah.
Since 1996, I think is when it started. Or maybe it might have been 95. But anyway, it's been a long time. And so every single year, we'd always have that turned on while we opened Christmas presents and stuff. So we'd usually see it through the course of the morning, kind of in bits and pieces a couple of times. So it's just one of those I know by heart and I love it. And it's actually one of my favorite stories that my parents have ever told me about them pre-me. They actually got married the year that this came out. And they got married in December. Their 40th anniversary is on Sunday. So, when they got married, this movie was new, and they went and saw it at the theater. And apparently, they were like the obnoxious people that couldn't get it together and kept laughing throughout the whole thing. So this is a movie that's really special to them for that reason.
Yeah, love it to death. And actually, going into my number 5. Is it's Home Alone. I mean, if you don't like Home Alone, I might not trust that you have good intentions towards anybody. I mean, it's Home Alone. Like, if you grew up, kind of like, and you're around our age, I feel like that is like a can't miss Christmas classic.
It is.
It is very funny. I also really have to give it up to Macaulay Culkin being that age and being able to carry an entire film that a lot of times is solely him. Mm-hmm. And it was, he just did so well with it. But then, of course, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, as Hank and Marv, or no, Hank, was it Hank?
No, Harry and Marv.
Harry and Marv. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Harry and Marv. I mean, the Wet Bandits are just so funny. The second one's great too. I almost want to put those two together, but I mean, it's just so great. Like Catherine O'Hara as the mom. I mean, good Lord, like why don't you love your kid when you don't lose him?
I know.
Come on.
This movie is very different to watch as an adult than it is as a kid because I still love the kid part, but as an adult, and a mom, I'm like, are you kidding? Why are you talking to your kid like that?
This is
Why
supposed
are you
to be
not paying better attention?
This is supposed to be like a feel-good movie. By the end of it, you're like, you neglected your kid.
Like, why are you not dragging your child by the hand when you're walking out the door? Like, how do you leave a kid that little anywhere?
And also, like, this is clearly a movie that would definitely not work these days.
No, it would take some serious modification.
Because you have a cell phone.
Well, and also that all of him not getting on the wrong plane and stuff in Home Alone 2 would have never happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, him bumping into the lady, her throwing all the boarding passes and be like, oh yeah, mine's in here somewhere, there was my dad. Like, no.
That would not happen at all. Like, I think they did like a new one or something here
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no desire to see it. None.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus, and I'm just like,
I'm sorry, Home Alone 2 was the last one. There's been no other since, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, what's your number 4?
My number 4, this was where it got really difficult for me, these top few.
Really? This was actually kind of a hard list for me.
So, this one actually for me is Elf. And I know you would think it would be higher. But
it should be.
But nostalgia got me on a couple of them.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. And what better time for nostalgia than Christmas, right? Yeah.
But, I mean, hello, it's Elf. It's Will Ferrell. He's great. He's fantastic in this movie. I don't even particularly like a lot of Will Ferrell movies, but
It's
man.
true.
In that one, he is just so endearing. Like, the man-child thing that he is so known for, like, perfectly works in this movie. And his dad, James Caan, oh my gosh. he's such a curmudgeon, and it's so great.
Yeah, there's so many great, I mean, geez, I could quote the whole movie, so I won't even begin, but yeah, I really love that one too. So for me, number 4 was Muppet Christmas Carol. I have a lot of the same thoughts that you do. I mean, Michael Caine kills it. Really love, having Kermit as
Bob Cratchit.
Bob Cratchit. I mean, that was a great choice, obviously, and just I mean, the way they used the Muppets in all of that was really well done. Like having the two guys, I forget what their names are, but the two guys that usually up in the
the old guys.
Yeah, the old guys that are always like hating on everybody as the two Marleys instead of one.
We're Marley
and Marley. Woo! Yeah. I mean, it's really well done, and it's a classic. And to me, yeah, I won't say definitive, but it is definitely my favorite version of A Christmas Carol.
Yes, definitely. I think the story of A Christmas Carol itself for little kids can be a little creepy, but I think Muppets makes that more accessible. Like, it still tells exactly the same story. There's nothing different about it. It's just that the puppets make it manageable and not so weird.
Because Jim Carrey, that version that came out a while back, which I really love. I don't know if I'd show Charlotte.
I don't think she would like it. I think she would be doing a lot of this.
Yeah, because I think actually whenever we showed it to her, I think she was doing a little bit of that anyway, even in the Muppet one. So
yeah,
because it's got some pretty, especially the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. It gets it's a Grim Reaper. That's kind of terrifying, but yeah, it's great.
I do have questions, however, on the Muppet Christmas Carol about Miss Piggy and Kermit and their children. It's
just best not to question that. Because, some things you just gotta, you can't peek behind the curtain there. Nobody wants to know how that truly worked.
Well, if you weren't thinking about that, you're thinking about it now. You're welcome.
You really want to be creeped out? Think about, throughout, any portion, several Muppet movies where, Piggy talks about having little tadpoles with Kermit. Have fun with that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You're going to go lay in bed for 3 days now. All right. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Home Alone. So that one made it up further for me. I mean, it cracks me up. Especially the first one, just watching all of the things that he figures out how to do with them in the house with the stuff that he has. I was watching this actually with students recently, and they were all questioning why do they have so many mannequins in this house? But part of it, if you actually look throughout the movie, there are multiple sewing dummies that you would actually put something you were trying to sew on it, the dress forms. There are multiple ones of them throughout the house. But they also have a sewing machine next to it or a pattern pin to it. So they tried to put things in the house to indicate that this wasn't just out of the blue.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a funny thing, but I think Chris Columbus just has an eye for detail with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as I think about this more, I just start to pick it apart. I mean, you're talking about the mannequins, but I'm sitting there going like everyone else, man, what did Kevin McAllister's dad do to be able to afford a house that big? It's geez. Another thing, why is that cop so incompetent that goes to do a welfare check? He bangs on the door a couple of times tell him to count it. The cop is more incompetent than the parents are.
Yeah, I love it. I feel in every other movie you see a cop knock on the door, they're always bang, 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 LAPD or whatever. He just knocks and just stands there this is a nice house.
And knocks on it, but it's a huge house. Maybe go around the back. I don't know. But I will also want to take an opportunity. We need to give a moment of silence for the macaroni and cheese.
Oh my gosh.
That never got ate, that looks absolutely delicious. And as a kid, I would be that's the best looking macaroni and cheese I'd ever seen in my life. And he's sitting down to eat it.
And then the grandfather clock starts dinging.
Grandfather starts dinging, and then he leaves, and it never gets touched again. I'm oh.
It's so sad.
Oh, put your hand over your heart. You know, maybe like on A Christmas Story, like blowing taps. You hear the sound of taps slowly, silently being played. Oh man, it's a great movie.
It is.
So,
what's your number 3?
My number 3, if I can get my phone back up, is Mary. It's a Wonderful Life. So yeah, I mean, that movie. I mean, since I've been in high school, we watched it in some shape or form. Usually on Christmas Eve, like we'll go around in our neighborhood and like around town in the neighborhoods and look at Christmas lights on Christmas Eve. Put Charlotte to bed. Put on It's a Wonderful Life. It's a great feel-good story, and it really shows that everyone has an effect on the world.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah, I really got a hiccup.
Oh, sorry. She's been hitting the sauce. I'm kidding. But, it just shows, like, everyone has an effect on the world, and for me, like, what I walk out of that is, do you want to be positive or negative? Because I think we would all prefer to be, Jimmy Stewart in that moment, and have a positive effect on the world. And if we weren't in the world, then the people around us that we care about would be worse for it. So, just love it to death. I'm getting excited to watch it again. Like I'm always excited this time of year. So, yeah, number 3.
Awesome. So my number 2 is The Santa Claus.
Great movie. It did not make my top 10.
This is another one that I just grew up watching a lot. My family were huge Home Improvement fans growing up. Me and my mom and dad used to always watch Home Improvement, and so we loved Tim Allen when I was a kid. And then this movie came out, and we loved it. Like, this is one that to this day we still quote to each other throughout the year. And so it's another one that, again, that kind of thing that I like, where it explains Santa Claus and like gives some kind of concrete details as to like how Santa does what he does and all of that stuff. Like, I think that's really cool. So, like, as an adult, you can watch it and be like, this is really neat. And then as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, this is, like, the most amazing thing ever because it's Santa.
I will admit, at the beginning of the movie, he's driving back from the Christmas party and he's, like, telling his ex-wife, oh, man, traffic's crazy. And it's like, no, I think I've definitely used that excuse before for being late for certain things. I will not go into detail about specifically what, because I do not want to get in trouble. But, yeah, I've used that. I mean, yeah, I can definitely identify with some of the things he does in that movie. So, it's some of the lines he uses, like, huge!
This guy was huge!
Oh, yeah, it's great. And, of course, you like the ZZ Top... sequence to give me all your lovin'. That's always a lot of fun. But
yeah, we're like getting ready to get him in the sleigh and going to deliver his gifts, and they're like walking down the hallway doing that. Yeah, that's part's cool.
So for me, number 2 is It's That Time. Christmas Vacation. Gosh, I mean, now this is another one that whenever I was younger, I would watch, but it wasn't quite as funny to me. As I've gotten older, this gets funnier and funnier and funnier. And man, like especially, like you're dealing with family and we have, we love everybody in our family and we have really good kind of situation here. So like, we're not saying it's as chaotic as that, but just that kind of like organizing and getting everyone together can be really stressful. And it definitely swore off me ever hanging lights outside. Like, I just, no, I'm not going to, ever, never. I'm going to die on that hill. But, just and of course, like, just the lines, like, just, Clark Griswold's rant at the end, Cousin Eddie somewhere, Merry Christmas! I'll not finish the rest of that, but you know what that part is. But it's perfect. It's a perfect Christmas comedy.
Yeah, it is. And that one is my number 1 pick. So
there you go. Perfect. We did that a lot this list.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's my number 1 pick. That one is another one that I remember growing up watching. But funny thing about that Clark Griswold rant, we used to watch it. We had the VHS,
you told me this story.
We had the VHS tape of it. And so we would watch it, and whenever he got to the big rant, my mom and dad would always mute it because they didn't want me to hear that part. So I was like grown before I ever heard what he said. Which, I mean, now is absolutely hilarious to listen to it. Because, I mean, my favorite part's at the end. Hallelujah, holy, where's the Tylenol?
Yeah. I mean, that's something that is just, that's not even a Christmas thing. That's just a 365 days a year.
Yeah, that's just like, I had a bad day at work. Like, where's the Tylenol, man?
Exactly. Oh, man. Like, I'm cracking up now. We need to watch that again.
Oh my gosh, and the other part that I always found comically relatable about that movie was the driving scene at the beginning. I remember watching, like, listening to my mom and dad, like, in the front seat, and she's like, quit doing that. Why are you doing that? And he's, you know, he'll get whatever out. And he was never that extreme, but just something about that, like, sense of, you know, dad's getting frustrated on the road and mom's trying to settle him down. Like, that feels relatable.
I do feel like that is a little bit in our relationship.
I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, but you just did, so okay.
But the thing that I always say is, like, when I'm driving, don't yell at me. You can yell at me after we get out of the car. Don't yell at me while I'm trying to drive. But now there have been times where I've felt you going.
Yeah, I do.
You're definitely pulling a Cameron Diaz in The Holiday, driving on the other side of the road.
Yes. Yeah, when she's like driving the teeny little like Mini Cooper and that 18-wheeler or whatever it is coming by, and she's like, that's me riding with him. So.
Absolutely, that's all good. Hey, I get from point A to point B fairly safely, so there you go. But my number one is Elf. Love it so much. It is my absolute favorite. It's one I want to watch multiple times. I can't wait for Christmas because that's when I get to watch Elf. And I mean, it's just, you know, and I'm a big Will Ferrell fan anyway. But like you've said, it's just such a different role for him than what everyone's used to him playing. And really, that was the first really big starring role where, you know, he was like, you know, very top of the bill, and that was his first kind of big thing. Of course, he did things like Old School, things like that, but that's really the role that really made him like a big star. And gosh, it is just perfect. And it's a great mixing of a lot of humor and some cynicism, but it still keeps that innocence, and it works on a lot of levels. Like, as a little kid, you can enjoy that movie, and as an adult, you can enjoy it as well. And it's almost like two different reasons. So it's like, it's perfect in that regard. And
because like Charlotte can enjoy the sight gags and the, you know, him burping and the raccoon jumping on him and like.
And he's just like really so funny. Excited and genuine and
then him jumping and putting the star on the tree.
Meanwhile, you know, like as you get older, like you start to identify James Caan's character and like, you know, like even like Peter Dinklage in his little cameo role, which is very funny.
Even Mary Steenburgen playing the mom or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, her kind of trying to like placate him like a child, like, hello, what am I doing with Charlotte at the time?
Exactly. So, I mean, but yeah, it is so wonderful. And, you know, like I love like all the claymation stuff, like from the Rankin and Bass, you know, specials.
Which, on that, if you haven't watched the Netflix The Movies That Made Us series,
it's a good
Elf is on there, Home Alone is on there, Die Hard is on there.
Mm-hmm. Plus other, like, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street from, you know, different horror movies like that. It's a good series.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they have a good, I don't know, humorous way of putting things together, but still being informative. So they're kind of cool to watch if you want to sort of see how some of these things happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, hey. That's our top 10. Yes. So do you want to quickly go back over, like, you know, just kind of going down the list of what it was for you?
Okay. So number 10 was Bad Santa. Number 9 was Muppets Christmas Carol. Number 8 was The Holiday. 7, It's a Wonderful Life. 6, Miracle on 34th Street. 5, A Christmas Story. 4, Elf. 3, Home Alone. 2, The Santa Claus. And 1, Christmas Vacation.
And mine was Bad Santa. Number 9 was Die Hard. Number 8 was The Polar Express. Number 7 was Miracle on 34th Street. Number 6 was Christmas Story. Number 5 was Home Alone. Number 4 was Muppet Christmas Carol. Number 3 was It's a Wonderful Life. Number 2 was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And number 1 was Elf. So now, you know, we want to hear from you. What was your favorite, you know, what's your top 10 Christmas movies. You know, do you completely disagree with us, or do you agree with us? Do you agree with me? That's probably preferable, or did you agree with her? I don't know. Maybe you like to be wrong.
You know what? I'm surprised you didn't put Batman Returns on there.
It was one of those things. It felt weird putting that on there. It didn't feel weird to put Die Hard, but it felt weird to put Batman Returns on there. So I'm not sure, but I do love that film. It felt weird that I would say it's a top 10. It's a top 10 Christmas movie when that doesn't even crack my top 5 favorite Batman films.
Fair enough.
So, but I may do like a D's Nerds watch at some point with it. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, we would I was kidding, by the way. I liked your list a lot.
Oh, okay. So. I was ignoring you.
Well, that's pretty typical. Alright, so, hey guys, let us know what your top 10 is. We'd really love to hear that. And of course, if you like what we're doing here at D's Nerds, please subscribe to the channel, like this video if you did like, and of course, also ring the bell icon so you know whenever new videos coming out. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so if you're missing us in between videos, you can follow us there. And we also have merch, so if you will go down to the link down in the description, anything you buy there just supports the channel, and we greatly do. I'm kind of having a little moment. We greatly appreciate anything that you buy from there. So, guys, until next time, I'm Chris.
I'm Michelle.
We are D's Nerds. You guys have a very Merry Christmas, very happy holidays, and a very happy New Year. And you guys have a great, safe rest of the day. Bye!